Welcome to a special edition of Crawford County Outdoors. I'm Dwayne Kohler, and joining us today is Ryan Hill from the Woodcock. So let me ask you to explain your position here, and what's over our shoulder.
Yeah. So I'm Ryan Hill. I'm the Supervisory Natural Resources Management Specialist for Woodcock Creek Lake, and behind us is Woodcock Creek Lake and the Woodcock Creek Dam.
Now, I have to apologize to you about this. I thought this was the 50th anniversary. I was all excited we were going to have a 50th anniversary show because I remember when I was in high school, when I was in junior high and then just getting ready to go into high school, came out and things were just getting ready. Last year was a 50th anniversary, and this is a 51st anniversary. But well, let me ask you, was I totally wrong about that?
No, you weren't. So common misconception, so construction of the dam was completed in 1973, so that's why we celebrate our 50th anniversary last summer. However, the dam went into operation in 1974, so we can do a 50+1 anniversary for you and find a happy compromise.
Okay, so theoretically, it filled up in 74. It was when the lake filled up, right, for the first time.
Is that right? It went into operation in 74.
So this is actually one of my favorite spots. It's not too far from my house. That's, I think, maybe 5 miles away from my house or whatever. So I come out here and we walk the dogs across, it's like a 1 mile walk across and 1 mile walk back on the actual dam. On the other end in the game lands, there's a place, and of course that's one of my favorite hunting spots. But then whenever hunting season's over, then I take the dogs out and run them out there because it's like they know the area like the back of their paw, so to speak. And there's a playground over there. There's a beach, and a campground, and and a boat launch, and all that. Let me ask you to describe all the stuff that's available here.
Yeah, we have a number of recreational opportunities within Crawford County. We are the only federal institution here for outdoor recreation. But yes, as you alluded to, we have an 18-hole disc golf course. Our campground is open for foot traffic, and the boat ramp is open. We have a 20 horsepower limit on our lake. One big thing for the Army Corps of Engineers is water safety. So if you are coming out to recreate on our lake, please make sure you wear your personal flotation device and that it does fit properly. But yeah, we have a number of hiking trails, so I'm glad to hear that you bring out your furry friend. Just a reminder for our folks that do bring out your dogs, it must be on a leash, must be physically restrained, 6 foot and under. So hopefully you're keeping your dog on a leash.
Now,
I'm sure you are.
Now in the game lands, I let them run because it's like they're like going crazy. This was it last year or was it 2 years ago? I literally shot a bird and it fell on the old 198. I mean, it literally. I mean, I've been going hunting there for probably 35 years or something like that, and that never ever happened before. And it's like the dog dove into the brush. And my dogs are very, very skilled, and so they don't like run at the bird and flush it away from me. They'll like circle around it and flush it back at me, And here the bird came right out over the red hair, the red brush, and I shot it, and it fell on right on the old blacktop road, which is kind of funny. 51 years now, 51 years now that road is still exists. That's amazing.
It's a piece of history. So the Game Lands is an out grant. So it's federal property, but it's out granted to the Pennsylvania Game Commission. Another out grant that we have is through the Crawford County Conservation District. Please be sure to visit both locations. But yes, as you're alluding to, a very popular destination for our outdoor enthusiasts. Myself, I'm a pheasant hunter, and that is stocked with pheasants annually, and it's excellent hunting opportunities over there.
They do a great job of stocking that. I remember. What was that, a couple years ago? Oh, we're not stocking up here north because it's too cold, and there's we don't stock the birds after the late season and all that kind of stuff. I came out this year like the first days after deer season was over, and I think it was the deer season was over on Saturday, and then I think it was Wednesday, and this got stocked again, and I was able to get a couple birds, that's dinner, I mean that's awesome, and our celebrity chef Lisa is going to work on a recipe, and I don't know if she's doing pheasant or if she's doing a deer
hopefully
today, but she's going to work on a recipe later here. So I'm really looking forward to that. But the game lands is at the east end here of the lake, and one of my favorite spots ever. Well, and the reason was because I got my first bird there ever. I took the dog down there, and I call it the Willows. And it's like when the lake drains, there's a bunch of willow trees right on the edge of the lake. They're probably wet right now, which I assume that's why they grow there, because willow trees like a lot of water, right?
So you're referring to our winter drawdown. So for our visitors that come here in the winter time, we do an annual drawdown the lake. So a lot of people, they swing by, they might get a little concerned. That's very characteristic for our flood control reservoirs, is to make sure that we draw those down in the winter time so that we can create extra room, extra fill during the spring runoff and heavy precipitation. And we usually do about a 15 to 20 foot drop here at Woodcock, and then it refills and rebounds later that spring.
Let me ask you a history question here. When I was born in 1959, my birthday's Groundhog's Day, and I came home from the hospital, and the dynamite was going off because the French Creek was clogged up with ice, and they were blowing up the ice, and so was that the motivation to get Woodcock going and to get Tamarack going and to get some of the other lakes going around here, was to like stop the flooding, and stop. What do you think?
Yeah. So every Army Corps of Engineer facility has congressional authorization, and so our primary focus here is for flood control. Secondarily, that's for low flow augmentation for water quality, fish and wildlife enhancement, and lastly, recreation. Those are our federal authorizations here at Woodcock. What you're alluding to is the flooding that was happening in Meadville, Sayrtown, Cambridge Springs, because of French Creek being relatively uncontrolled. And so at that time frame, a decision was made, we need to do something to try to mitigate and reduce the flooding that's occurring in these small towns, and Woodcock Creek Lake came to be. And it works in unison with Union City Dam, which is located in Erie County. And interesting story is there's actually supposed to be a third dam that was supposed to be created to work in unison with both Woodcock and Union City, called Muddy Creek. It never came to be because of the benefits that, the effectiveness that Union City and Woodcock provided to local communities and controlling reducing the flooding downstream.
My family's house was in Westmead Township and the south of Meadville, and we weren't too far from the creek, but when the dynamite was going off, it was literally shaking the doors, shaking the windows of the house, and of course, I'm a brand new baby home from the hospital. Of course, it's making me cry and everything, got the family all worked up, because it was it was almost like an earthquake going on, whenever that was going on. And that's done. That's not happening anymore, So the lake's doing the right thing.
Yeah, we're definitely doing what we're designed to do. Talk about the benefits that we provide to local communities. So in 1973, the dam cost roughly $18.5 million to create when it was all said and done. But as of this last fiscal year, it's prevented about $38.5 million in damages.
Wow.
Which is pretty fascinating. And basically, for every $1 that the Army Corps of Engineers invests into a flood control reservoir or structure, we reap about $13 in benefits. So there's quite a big turnaround for the investment. And secondarily, we create these awesome recreational vistas for our visiting public to come out and enjoy.
Let me ask you about the Army Corps of Engineers. Can you explain what that's all about and how it works and all that kind of stuff?
A lot of people don't know who the Army Corps of Engineers are. They hear Army, they think that we're all Army,
literally Army, military.
And so for myself, while I'm the Supervisory Natural Resource Management Specialist here, I have no military background. I'm not an engineer either. But I'm here because of my skill sets, my abilities to help manage this park and bring it to its fullest potential. But regarding the Army Corps of Engineers, we are the nation's leading civil works agency. We have about 37,000 civilian soldier employees. We're divided geographically by watershed boundaries. And so what's kind of neat is Woodcock Creek Lake is within the Pittsburgh District. There's 16 flood control reservoirs that make up the Pittsburgh District in conjunction with locks and dams that are in the Ohio River. But the Pittsburgh District is located within the Great Lakes and Ohio River Division. So I say we're located geographically by watershed boundaries. There's 8 divisions and 41 districts. So 8 divisions, 41 districts. Pittsburgh District is just one of those. And basically, the Great Lakes and Ohio River Division, it caters to about 58 million people through 17 states. And our main goal is making sure that we keep the Ohio River navigable. The primary responsibilities for the Army Corps of Engineers are navigation, flood control, recreation, construction, and environmental. As mentioned, navigation is a huge component. Barges, I'm sure you've seen in the news lately, barges.
Oh, right.
And so we help transport commodities up and down the Ohio River through a series of water elevators with our locks and dams. And what's really neat is a lot of people don't know this, one barge is equal to about 50 or so semi-trucks.
And there's been
a very much more efficient means.
There's been some issues with barges here in the last couple of months. One knocked a big bridge down in Maryland. One hit the bridge in Pittsburgh. I don't think it broke the bridge or whatever, but one hit the bridge in Pittsburgh.
So that's an unfortunate circumstance, but thankfully the Army Corps of Engineers did come together to resolve those issues in unison with some other local agencies.
I think I've told this story before, but when my kids were little, we would take them up to to Mill Creek Mall and that kind of stuff or whatever. And when we go through Summit Township, I would tell the kids, I said, now if a raindrop falls here, I mean, it might trickle down this way and go into French Creek and then go into the Allegheny River and then go into the Ohio River and then go into the Mississippi River and end up in, and end up, or if it might hit and go the other way, it might go into Lake Erie and end up on Niagara Falls and then go out into, and it's like, so I was like, kind of teaching my kids about, that kind of stuff or whatever. That's not, I mean, I wasn't wrong though. I think I was right about that.
Yep.
Was I?
Yep. Sounds about correct. Yeah, as I mentioned, the Great Lakes and Ohio River Division encompasses 17 states. That's for that watershed boundary and our footprint and how we contribute to the Ohio River, which then goes downstream to the Gulf of Mexico eventually.
Okay.
So pretty fascinating where that one drop of water goes. Yep.
My kids are in their 30s now, and my daughter lives in Geneseo, New York, which is up in the Finger Lakes area. And we've been up visiting her because we've got a grandson there now, and there's another one on the way. So we're all excited to be grandparents for the first time. As we're leaving, you drive a little ways, and we kind of wind through the community before you get to Buffalo, and then a big sign, Lake Erie watershed, shows up, whatever. So I assume that at the other end of that, that's a Lake Ontario watershed, maybe as you're further north or whatever.
So as I mentioned, so we're the Pittsburgh district, and then there's the Buffalo district, which is just north of us.
Okay.
And even the state of Pennsylvania has 3 different districts that comprise it. So even though we're on the western end of Pennsylvania, there's a different Army Corps of Engineers district that goes in the middle and then on the far eastern part of the state. Pretty interesting.
The French Creek was the official Pennsylvania River of the Year a couple years ago,
it
whatever,
was.
and that was awesome. We did a bunch of interviews and we did a bunch of shows about the River of the Year, and it truly is an awesome community asset. I mean, I love going kayaking, down on French. In fact, I love going kayaking here on Woodcock Lake also. And I like you said, I saw the sign that said make sure you wear your life jacket. So I do. I always put my life jacket on whenever I come and paddle. But it's like there's Crawford County is a place where there's a ton of places to go and get out and be out in the nature.
Great. Yes.
So let me ask you your opinion about that. I mean, I think Woodcock is one of my favorite spots. Well, probably because it's close to me. But there's a ton of things here. Maybe you can mention some of those things that go on here.
Yeah, so as previously alluded to, so we have an 18-hole disc golf course. I love kayaking. I'm a kayaker myself. Yes, wear your personal flotation device. We actually have a life jacket loaner station right now at our boat ramp. So if for some reason you don't have a personal flotation device, we can loan you one. Please return it for other people to enjoy.
Now that's right straight across the lake from us.
Yes, it is.
That's right,
That's the
right
boat
over
ramp
there.
Right there.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
We have a courtesy dock, and we actually have our own separate dock just for kayaks and canoes. So for our non-powered boats.
Okay.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff you can do here. I mean, if you have an interest in the outdoors, chances are very good you're going to find it here. And that's year round, not just here during the summertime.
Yeah, this is, like I said before, this is my favorite game lands. I think it's about 5 miles from my house, and it takes me about like 7 or 8 minutes to get here from my house, because I live near the fairgrounds, and coming over here, this is the neighborhood game lands, and I bring the dogs over, and they know the place just like crazy, and they know where the birds hide, they know where, after they've been out for a while, they know where the birds, kind of travel to, after they've been, out here for a while. And my older dog is getting, he's going to be 12 tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow is going to be his 12th birthday, and the younger one's just phenomenal. The younger one is just his son. He's just amazing. He's just incredible.
Let me ask you this: do you trout fish?
I have been fishing as a kid, and I haven't been for years. But that's another thing that goes on here, right?
Yep. So the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission, they stock trout in the headwaters of Woodcock Creek that are in the game land section of the eastern end of the project, as well as the outflow waters of the dam. So if you're a trout fisherman, you like to fly fish like myself, make sure you come out here because we have some stellar trout fishing. I personally favor the upper section, the eastern portion of the creek, but that's my preference.
I think actually, like years and years ago on the show, we were actually following the Fish Commission stocking the fish down just below the dam. I think I remember. Geez, that's probably like 12 years ago or something. That was a long time ago. And of course, a lot of people were catching fish, and they were all excited, about catching nice big trout. And I remember watching that. And there were a whole, like, some fish this big and some, there's a whole combination of fish that were getting stocked down there. Yeah. Now they stock up at the other end too?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And we've actually partnered with the Fish and Boat Commission to stock this lake as well. We do fingerling, musky lounge, and walleye in here. We've done several stocking events.
Okay.
And in the springtime, they'll go around. They'll do some surveys too to see how the population's looking. So we really do appreciate our state agency partners, the Game Commission, Fish Commission. They really help us out because there's only so many people here to make this place run. So we can leverage those opportunities, and we have shared interest in the recreating communities. That's just a win.
Now I was sometimes do woodworking projects for the outdoor show or whatever, and I was hand making a wooden kayak paddle.
Power to you.
all the ash trees, are just coming down like crazy or whatever, and it's like ash wood is great, because it's like lighter and it's kind of flexible or whatever, but it's fairly strong, and so I made a laminate so the shaft wouldn't break or whatever. I made a laminate, then I made the paddle. So typically the paddle kind of runs like this, and I made it almost like a spoon, so it would grab the water, so I could get more exercise doing that. And I'm out paddling for the very first time with that paddle, and here jumps this giant fish, just right next to me. It just jumped up, and I think it was a walleye. I'm not positive for that, but there's walleye here too, right?
Oh yes, yeah. There's a number of different game fish, and going back to the Game Commission, we actually just did a really great habitat, fish structure habitat installation here earlier this spring. So our folks that have the fish finders, the sonars, you'll see all that great structure there. If you like to fish for panfish or larger game fish, it's all in here.
I remember, what was that? Probably, 20 plus years ago, that the Christmas trees from Meadville used to get dumped here, and that was
we still do that
to let the fish baby fish hide in there, because the bigger fish will eat the baby fish, right? I mean, that's
and the baby fish are there because they're eating all the benthic macroinvertebrates, the little tiny aquatic microorganisms that are feeding off of the
stuff on
material. So it's
okay.
that food chain cycle, and that's why we do a lot of these fish habitat structures out there to, again, try to invite those larger game fish for our visiting public to catch and hopefully keep. Maybe it's a trophy. Yep.
So if I'm going to go walk around Woodcock, is there a particular place that's better to go? Than
anywhere at our park, as long as there's not a sign that says "keep out" or "restricted." It's fair game. These are federal lands. They're here for the visiting public to enjoy and recreate.
I know when you walk across the dam, at the end of the dam, there's a circle, and you kind of loop around there. There's a trail that goes down to the right. There's a trail that goes down to the left, and the one that goes down to the left winds all through the woods, and that goes over to the game. That goes over to the campgrounds and the beach and the boat launch and everything, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like you can take
everything's within walking distance.
A ton of different different exercise events here.
Yeah, and something that we're really excited about is we received additional funding to do some interpretive sign installation throughout the park. So we're working on getting those installed right now. So for our visitors that come out and hike, do keep an eye out for those. We're starting slowly to get those installed. We actually have one of our bat signs up over here next to a bat box. But that's something exciting that the visiting public should really keep an eye out for in our trail systems. So hopefully we'll get them all installed this summer. But that's a really big improvement here at the park. So these are signs, they're educational signs that talk about a certain topic of flora or fauna that you might see out here in the park. It's a way to educate yourself and learn about the different creatures or plants. The Army Corps of Engineers really pride ourselves on interpretive events, educating the public, especially in the outdoors. So this is a way for self-guided hikers to kind of learn as they go as you're visiting the park.
Well, I think Woodcock is an awesome place for outdoors folks, that love. And I think Crawford County is one of those places where people love, outdoors. And, for people around Meadville, I mean, this is like the perfect place to come out.
Absolutely. I'm a Crawford County native, and actually one of my earliest memories of Woodcock was coming here and trout fishing with my grandfather. And that was something I spoke about at the 50th anniversary last summer. And I still fish that same, stretch of water. So this has a lot of deep roots with me personally.
Okay.
And I'm trying to, create those same memories for our visitors. So if there's something else that we can do to improve, our efforts here at the park, that's what I want to know about. So hopefully those memories keep on getting produced.
I remember as a kid, the family has a cottage over at Canada Lake, and so we would come down 198, to get over to 77 to go to the lake, and I remember turtles walking across the road, to go into, and it wasn't just like little turtles. I mean, it was like some pretty good sized turtles, and that was the road's still there, and I don't know if I haven't seen any for a long time or whatever, but that was actually kind of a big deal, to see those turtles walking across the road.
We have all kinds of wildlife. Any given time, any given day, I might look out my window and I might see a fox, I might see groundhogs. I've actually seen the pheasants you keep mentioning. They walk by my office. They migrated all the way from the game lands over there to check things out. Deer galore, turkeys. you name it. If it's in this local area, chances are pretty good you might see it while you're out and about.
What was that, 2 years ago? I was out running the dogs on the trail, in the Game Lands Trail, and there was a huge buck. I mean, it was like a massive rack on this buck, and I'm sure somebody got that and it's hanging on their wall now, but that was like, holy mackerel. That was like really impressive. It was like when you come down the trail, there's 3 fields, on the one side, and then the other one there's a field that goes off 90 degrees, and then there's another field, and it was in the middle of the 3 fields on the creek side, and it was like holy, and it wasn't afraid, it wasn't running from us, it wasn't afraid of us, it was just standing there looking at us and watching us go past, me and my 2 dogs, and it's like holy mackerel,
Yeah, this is one of those little hidden gems. I'll let people know about it, but I'm hoping with this being the Crawford County Outdoors show, that we get our outdoor enthusiasts here to come fish, come hike, come hunt. If it's in season, it's fair game here at the Game Lands. Just make sure you're doing it safely. That's our biggest thing.
Well, Ryan, thanks for everything you're doing.
No, thanks for having me on the show, and I'm looking forward to seeing all our visitors come out.
That's awesome. Okay, Chef Lisa's coming up next. She's got a recipe going, so stick with us for that. Well, joining us now, Chef Lisa. So Lisa, the 50th anniversary of Woodcock, I got it wrong. It's the 51st anniversary. I went when I was in high school or junior high, and we were over there driving on. They could see the dam being built and everything.
Right.
So the dam was built in '73, but they didn't actually start the lake until '74.
That's why you were thinking 50.
So I thought it was 50 this year, but
it's understandable.
So it's like, well, is it 50 or is it 51? So anyways,
For the water,
it's 51.
it's
for the,
50
for the lake.
For the lake, yeah. Well, okay.
But for the progress, anyways,
That's
it's
right.
51. So,
That's right.
But that was awesome. That was really fun. We went and saw some guys fishing. We went and saw people on the playground. We went. Yeah, it was fun. It was really great.
It is a nice place. We've
It's
been
a super place.
Yeah,
Super place.
Ever since the kids, ever since I moved here. I mean, we spent a lot of time there. So
Well, what was your idea today?
we are doing venison sliders.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay.
This is a new one. Looks really good. I think we'll like it. Well, we usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be a good one. So what I did was we preheated our oven to 350,
Okay.
and we are going to fry up about. It calls for about a quarter cup. I'm using more like a half a cup of sweet onions.
Okay.
So let's get a little bit of vegetable oil in there. And Dwayne,
Want me to stir?
this. Yep, that one will be
That one?
perfect.
Okay.
So once these start cooking up, then we'll throw. We have a pound of venison.
Okay.
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 So shouldn't take long to get those going.
Well, they're sizzling pretty good already.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a nice little skillet, so does cook up rather well.
Yeah, so it was really fun. We talked about the hunting grounds, we talked about the playground, we talked about the campground, we talked about the beach, we talked about,
There's a lot
we talked
there.
about the boat launch and all that stuff, and I think you'll be able to see most of that stuff, and it's just it's well, in a way, and like I talk about the rec complex, it's a community asset. I mean, it's something. I was telling Ryan whenever we were just kind of starting off talking about it. When I just came home from the hospital when I was brand new born, French Creek was flooded because there was big chunks of ice blocking the creek, and they were dynamiting it, and it was rattling our house. It was shaking the house.
My.
So of course that made me cry as a baby just home from the hospital.
Yes, that'd be scary.
Shaking the windows,
Yes,
shaking the door,
yeah.
shaking the whole house or whatever.
So that was obviously prior to Woodcock.
And so that's one of the reasons why Woodcock,
Was
well, that's
created.
actually the main reason why,
That it was created.
why Woodcock and Tamarack and it was created was to
Overflow
prevent
and-
the overflow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we
Yep.
do, we have French Creek, we have Cussawaga Creek, we're in that floodplain, so it only makes sense that would be the case so many years ago.
Oh yeah. And the group that he's with, they had three things. In goes the venison.
There goes
okay.
the venison, it's ready.
They did the Union City. They did the over there, the
Right.
backup over there.
Right.
And then they had a third one that was ready, but they never actually did it because the other two worked.
Oh, okay, so
it-
they had a backup just in case.
So there was a backup just in case.
That
yeah.
makes sense. Make sure I have that turned down. I have it up pretty high. So once that starts to brown, we're going to add about a tablespoon or so of Worcestershire, and I have about a quarter teaspoon of pepper and a half a teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
So we'll let you. It's cooking up.
It's
rather
already
quickly,
cooking quickly.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll let. Whoops, we got some on the side here. Can you get it in there? There. Just throw it in. We don't care.
It'll get warmed up.
It will get warmed up.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried. Yeah. Yes, my girlfriend and I, when we had our labs, this was probably 20-some years ago, we walked the woods. There was a trail in the woods.
You were right.
And it was long. I mean, we walked it every Saturday. We took those dogs every Saturday and Sunday that we could, and we walked them in those trails. And you started like on that grassy area by the playground, and you ended up having to jump over the water viaduct that's on the other side to get back. And for years, I mean, we did that. I want to say probably 5 years.
There's that trail that you're talking about. If you go across the dam all the way to the end, there's
Yes.
two different
Two
trails.
different
There's one
trails.
that goes to the right, one that goes to the
Yes.
left. The one that goes to the left goes over to it goes over and connects to the campgrounds.
Right.
And it actually breaks off in a couple different directions. And you can there's trails all over the place, and
Right.
you can get a great walk in over there, and that's a fun thing.
When I was a kid, we camped there, and I didn't live in Meadville. We were from Erie, and we camped there. And that was nice. I remember it being nice. Haven't been there in a while, but like I said, it's a great place. It really is it's a Crawford County treasure.
Oh, it sure is.
I agree with that.
Oh, it sure is.
I'm going to add the Worcestershire because we're really cooking.
It's really cooking fast.
Yeah. So we'll get that all mixed in, and I'm going to add the salt and pepper too.
That's kind of like, in a way, that's kind of like my favorite game lands because it's the closest one to our house, and I always get birds there every year. I get pheasants there every year at the.
It seems to me that when we had our first lab, Terry took Keela with you.
I think that was the first time because they had shut it down for a while.
They did.
There was something, and so we went over together, and we got birds. I call it the willows because there's like right where the lake goes up.
Yes.
There's a bunch of
where that road is.
Yeah. There's a bunch of weeping willow trees right along there, and so we hit that area, and I mean we were done in like 20 minutes or whatever. We both got our limit.
Rather quickly. Yes.
That very first day.
So once that's no longer pink, which it's close,
Almost not.
I'll have you
no more pink.
use the silver spoon maybe,
Okay.
because it'll be easier to pick up.
Just a little bit of pink stuff.
Yeah, that's okay. And then we're going to put in this bowl. We're going to kind of like try to get it to cool down a little bit. And then we're going to add about a half a cup of mayonnaise. We're just going to mix the mayonnaise
okay.
in. And then this part is done. And this is actually a pretty easy,
Oh,
quick
it sure is. Yeah.
meal, sandwich, slider, however, you want to do it. But that looks almost done.
I'm looking for pink. Just a little bit
Just
of
a
pink
little
there.
bit,
Just a
right?
little bit of pink right there.
Yeah. Looks good. Smells really good.
Oh, it does. It smells awesome.
I like onions in Worcestershire.
Me too.
Onions seem to be the base of, I think, every single meal that I make. I cook onions first and then add everything to it, and usually it's onions and garlic. No garlic in this one, but that Worcestershire, it's just a great smell.
I think we got the pink.
I think so too. I'm gonna turn this off.
Okay, you want me to hold it up?
Well,
and-
yeah, maybe we'll do that. I'm just gonna try not to get any. There's not really much grease in there, but. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it smells really good.
It sure does.
Don't want to miss a morsel there. Get all those onions out. And I think that will be it. Just really kind of, I don't want to put mayonnaise in this when it's really, really, really hot. So let's just set this aside for a
Let
second.
the steam settle down there
Yeah.
a little bit. Okay.
And I have 12 Hawaiian rolls in here.
Oh, wow.
And I sprayed the
Okay.
bottom of this, and I cut the top. And I did have a plate. Because what we're gonna do, they're kind of in chunks. So I'm gonna take the tops off. And what I'm gonna put on the bottom, now this was my idea, the recipe didn't call for
Okay.
this. I have two different kinds of cheese. I have smoked cheddar and smoked Gouda.
Nice.
So I'm just layering it like this. So there's the Gouda on the bottom. You can use whatever cheese you like, but I was getting fancy. I saw the smoked cheese and I was
That's nice.
like, I think I want to do that. It says 6 pieces, but I'm probably gonna do this.
Break one in half.
Yeah, because I kind of want everything
Okay.
covered.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
And then,
So you said you're going to blend mayonnaise in with that?
yes, we are
Okay.
going to, why don't you grab the green, yeah. And, whoops, and the red one, because the red one's going to be, I'm going to be able to get this out
Okay.
better. So you can mix that in there, I love these little spatulas. Get every little bit out of that container. So yeah, just mix that in.
That actually blends in pretty easily.
It does. And then we're going to put it right over top. I love mayonnaise too. So I like all these
Yeah,
ingredients.
Right. Me too.
Okay.
It looks like it's all
That looks
blended
good.
in.
Yeah, if you want to just,
Shovel a little bit on each.
I was going to say, just we'll put them all on, put it all on,
Okay.
and then we'll spread it out. It's still warm, so it's going to start melting the cheese, but that's okay. We want the cheese to melt. That's not a
Well, that's a good
problem.
point.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
not a problem.
If you're making a slider, you want the cheese to melt.
That's right. That's good.
Okay.
Move this over here. Thanks. Yeah, I'm just going to carefully just kind of spread it out.
Okay.
And then we're going to top it with more cheese because I like cheese.
Mm.
I think that's pretty level.
Great.
Okay. And then we're going to take the smoked cheddar. And we're going to put the smoked cheddar on top.
Okay. Gonna do the same thing and break one in half.
Gonna break one in half on the other end. I noticed it was on that end. I'm trying to
Change ends. Okay.
change
that's,
ends.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've covered everything. So then we're just gonna take,
Put the lids back on. Okay.
yeah, just like so. Okay. Now we have a little brush over there. Do you see it, Dwayne? Perfect. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to just go over them with, this is 2 tablespoons of melted butter.
Oh, okay.
I want to use it all. So I'm gonna make sure I get each top, and then I'm just gonna pour what's left over.
Now, was that kind of soaked down through the buns? Or
It is a
just
little bit, and then I
okay.
have a little something to go on top.
Okay.
I have a couple slider recipes. This is the first time I've made this one. I've got another one I think I'm going to do for the show this summer. It's a little different, and
Okay.
I think this is
interesting.
everyone will like it. Yeah, but
is
you always
interesting.
top it with something like this, butter or something. Okay, so we got that there, and then let me wipe my hands on my apron with some sesame seeds.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just going to sprinkle them. I mean, you can buy little sliders, I guess. I don't know. I don't know that I've seen them with sesame seeds, but this was in the recipe, so this is what we're doing.
Nice.
Yeah, and then they'll toast, when they're in the oven. This is just going to go in for like 10 to 15 minutes. That's it.
So the oven's already warmed up?
The oven is ready to go, so we can actually pop that in.
Okay, there it is.
Look at that.
Pop it in.
Okay.
There we go. So Lisa, the timer's down to just a little bit now.
Yes.
So this is I'm excited.
I know. It smells really good.
It smells great.
And everybody knows this is our favorite time.
Yeah.
We get to taste.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to stop it right now before it goes off. Clear off. There we go. Let's see.
Wow. That looks awesome.
Okay.
Look at that.
Look at this. Doesn't that look fantastic? All right. Now is the time. And I just get my little spatula out. These are going to be super hot, Dwayne. So
Maybe we can let it cool off for a little bit.
yeah. Be careful. Look how nice they cut up. Come out like that. Important to spray the pan. I mean, that's what I did.
And it doesn't stick, right?
No. Look at that.
Wow.
Yep. Cool off, because you smell really good.
Yeah, we were at the store the other day, and the lady stopped us and just wanted to talk about the recipes.
Aw,
And
that's
that was-
nice.
That happens a lot.
It does happen
That
a lot.
happens a lot.
I was at breakfast one day with Terry. We went out to breakfast, and there was a lady in the restaurant. She kept looking over our way, and I was getting a little uncomfortable. And afterwards, she came over and she said, "I was watching you," and I wanted to say, "Yes, I know that." She said, "On TV." I said, "Okay." And then another really cute story. We had the carpets cleaned down here, and the gentleman that came to clean them did a fantastic job, I have to say. But I came down to check on him, and he said, "This is going to sound a little creepy, but I've been here in your house, but I've never been in your house." And then I said, "Well, what's that supposed to mean?" He goes, "Well, I finally figured it out. I watched you on television." I'm like, "Well, that makes sense." What do you think? Think we're going to be okay to try?
I think it's good to try.
All right. A little messy.
Oh, Lisa, that is wonderful. Wow,
I like the smoky cheese.
that is awesome.
I think that was
Everything is awesome.
I think that was a good call. Thank you. Really good. It's a keeper.
Oh, that's for sure. Well, Lisa, thank you for the awesome recipe.
You're welcome.
Thank you for Woodcock for the 50th/51st
51st.
anniversary.
Yep.
And thank you folks at home for joining us. And boy, am I going to finish my sandwich.
Me too.